Hey, scrappy people, Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a process video in my Life Crafted album. We went on a trip to Cincinnati / Newport, Kentucky, concert over the weekend, and now I am diving into those pictures. I took like 18 million photos of my middle son doing his model strut on the catwalk, so you can be prepared to see him over and over again for the next few months. But this is the first one I'm scrapbooking, and I'm using the Citrus Twist Kits Explore collection, and I really wanted to use this floral paper because he's wearing a floral shirt, but I didn't quite like the vibe of the entire floral as a paper, and I really wanted to use this map paper because it has a bridge on it and it just makes more sense in context. So I'm going to scrap the floral and use the map instead, and of course I have to extend it horizontally to fit the 5 inches of the Life Crafted album outside the pocket protector. So I did that. And now I'm just choosing some puffy stickers I might want to use. I like to pull them off the backing and put them to the side so that I have them ready to go. And I'm going to add a title to the card here, and it's just going to be Explore Newport and Cincy. This bridge is actually a bridge over the Ohio River from Newport to Cincinnati, so it kind of makes sense. We were all over both places. They're basically the same city, just divided by a river. So this will probably be one of the intro spreads for this trip. Now I've decided I'm going to create a flip up so that I can include some journaling about how he is so authentically himself. Obviously, if I'm going to have dozens of photos of him basically modeling throughout this album, then I'm going to need some journaling that's not specifically about the trip. So I'm going to use a journal card to talk about, I think it goes really well with this story, or this photo specifically, this journaling. So I'm creating a hinge with a folded piece of cardstock. I just adhere it to the back of this card, and then the card goes down. The top of the hinge gets adhered in between the 2 journal cards that create that top flap so that you can't see it. And then I gotta fix all of these letters because these letter stickers aren't very sticky, so I have to go back and make sure that I use some liquid glue and make sure that these are really stuck down, since there will be movement with that card. You can see I have to readjust them quite a few times, really pushing them down to see if I can make them really stick. Maybe I should even or I could have even stitched through them with a sewing machine. That would probably hold them down too and add some fun textural detail. However, my sewing machine and I are on the outs today, so that's not gonna happen. So I know I want to build up some clusters around the bottom of this card and also on the photo. I really liked these silhouette of flowers, but they all had words on them, and I just thought that they looked a little bit globby if I tried to get rid of the words. They just kind of look like maybe a paint glob. It just didn't work in this context, so I abandoned those. And I remembered that I had some florals that I had cut out from one of these papers. I knew I wanted to use this Wild Soul. It matches really well in color to that photo too, which is good because there's pink in that photo with his shirt, but not really any pink on the left-hand side of the spread. So it's good to bring in that pink. Still trying to make this work, but then I remember that I had those florals, so I'm going to pull those out. It's just a bunch of fussy cut florals. I have them in a bag separated, so I had to find them. There they are. So they actually have blue background, which I think is going to be super fun for this page, and it will pull in both the pink and the blue from either side of the spread together. And so I know I don't want to get too close to him, but there really is a lot of dead space in this photo that I can sort of get rid of. So I'm going to very carefully, very artfully put these fuzzy cut florals on his photo. Stuck that Wild Soul to the floral before I stuck the floral to the photo, just so that I could get them positioned together perfectly. You can see that there's edges on these florals because they were cut out from a paper. So I'm using the edges to sort of guide the layout. I really wanted to add in a couple of layers, but I really couldn't find anything that really worked as a secondary layer. Like you can see I'm just trying everything. I finally find one that can go in the corner, but I'm still not quite sure. I feel like I need to use this pink to draw that pink down to the bottom corner too. So I'm gonna put that underneath the Wild Soul because it covered up just a little bit too much of the lettering. Those corners are really handy dandy. They actually make it come together really easily once you can figure out where you want them to be. And then I'm going to put this stick with people. It says stick with people who pull the magic out of you and not the madness, which I really liked that quote. I think it's kind of funny because being my teenage son, he pulls out the madness for sure. But this trip really was very magical, and I thought it was an appropriate quote for the vibe of everything. Plus it frames that photo really well. It gives it some vertical, gives it some vertical decoration for this very vertical photo. My child is 6'4", so he's very tall, and so it gave the embellishment some length down that photo. I'm gonna mirror the height sort of length thing with this. This is actually a floral that came loose in one of my Citrus Twist boxes. I love how whenever Erin packs a box, it always has like confetti and little random die cuts and things in it. It's like opening up like a little magical box of surprises. I really wanted to use more of these buildings, but I could not make them work in the context of this page very well, so I did use the one, but I really like the way that it was sort of like a downtown scene. But puffy stickers, you can't layer them over each other very well, so I just couldn't get like the layering vibe that I wanted for that bottom corner, so I just used the one. Just kind of just trying to decide if I want anything else on here. Like I'm feeling like it's done, but it also came together so easily and it was so simple that I'm not quite sure like if it's really done. I'm gonna add this little heart, and I need to add in my journaling, and then I'm gonna call it good. Oh, I know what I add. I'm gonna add this heart, and then I'm gonna add some of that teeny tiny skinny washi tape to the hinge up here just to give it a little bit more decoration. Then I'm gonna call it done. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. There's a link to Citrus Twist kits in the description box below, and I will see you next time. Thank you.